A question I'm asked very, very frequently is, Acorn, what is the hardest job in Space Station 14? And the answer I usually give is Head of Security. Head of Security, in my personal opinion, is the very hardest job in all of Space Station. This video is going to go over why. But to talk about why Head of Security is the hardest job, we need to talk about the second hardest job, Warden. Security is already the department where if you do anything, you're probably pissing someone else off. And that reigns especially true for the Warden. See, Warden is in charge of sentencing, obviously. This results in them pissing everyone off. See, let's say you are an antagonist. You stab someone, get arrested, and get sentenced to a break time. The Warden has to play a careful balancing act between giving you enough time so that you don't do it again, and the security team gets a very good amount of, okay, this guy's been punished enough, alongside the murder victim also hitting them with the they've been punished enough. You also need to deal with all of your security officers telling you what every person has been arrested for. The admins, because if you fuck up too badly, it's considered a rule break because it actively ruins someone else's experience. Alongside the person you're bringing, having the free will and choice, and usually taking it as a fucking obligation, to be a massive pain in the ass to try and break out of the brig and make sentencing as hard as possible. And this is just one part of playing Warden. You also need to keep an eye on several consoles, including the Wanted console, where you're expected to set people to be arrested based on what your officers are telling you in the security console. The cameras, if you so choose, but let's be real, nobody does. And the medical scanner. Oh, and armory. Oh, and all of security, the entire place, including the substation. Oh, and also every antagonist wants to sabotage you and kill you. Now take that, and add on having every head of staff breathing down your neck at the exact same time, alongside being expected to lead your entire department. And if an officer decides to do stupid and shoot the clown for no fucking reason, that's a problem you gotta deal with. Alongside every problem in the fucking server. If anything happens, it's a you issue. Does Atmos accidentally leak some plasma? That's a you issue. Does Body accidentally leak some plasma because they're fucking around again? That's a you issue. If someone fucks up a surgery and kills someone, that's a you issue. If the captain shoots the cloud for pissing them off, that's a you issue. If anything bad happens on board, including people just wanting some basic fucking permits for some random ass contraband, that's a you issue. And if you don't give them the contraband permit, they'll proceed to be a pain in the ass. Because of course they will. Oh, and also the admin team is scrutinizing you as hard as possible because you are in the lone position of any staff member or any command member on the entire station to be as much of a pain in the ass as possible. If you fuck up, it ruins someone else's round. If you don't play perfectly, the antags don't get caught, and you lose. Hard. If you're not robust, you die, and then you're round removed because which antagonist wants the head of security to be alive? The Cosmic Cult? Sort of? None of them want them alive. You also, in addition to the Warden, have the multi-phase, alongside head of security orders if your server is shit, it has the head of security orders. You also have access to armory, as well as a gun and subbaton. You are a walking loot pinata of even more high value than the captain and the warden. And all of that is on one person. Every expectation is on one person. This shift, I'm going to show you, is the biggest example of issues being issues. I'm having a team meeting, and as you clearly saw, it took fucking forever just to get the officers to sit the fuck still into the brig, or into the meeting room to do the fucking meeting. And that is already not counting that cadets exist. You, as a head of staff, are expected to train the cadets. Now, if a cadet is stupid, then that reflects on you. If a cadet fucks up, you gotta fire them. If the cadet decides they don't want to be fired, and they want to use their disabler stun baton and other tools to get the fuck away from you trying to fire them, that's also a you issue. Now, there's the other half of this where the admins are well aware of this. If the server you're playing on is good, and if it isn't, then play a fucking just play a different server. Where the admins will be like, yeah, head of security is the hardest job. We're going to take it a little easy on the head of security and make sure to come down a little harder on people who are harassing security for no reason. Of course, there's a fair few caveats to this. Admins are never perfect. They're never going to be perfect. And anyone that says, oh, you should come play on our server, our administration isn't dog shit, you should tell them to fuck off. Their administration is probably extremely dog shit in comparison to what they were talking about. For example, if they say our admins actually punish people, what they mean is their admins are overbearing and exclusively punish people for the slightest lapse in perfect roleplay. Which is, normal. That's normal. People fuck up roleplay all the time. Shit happens. If they say their admins are chill and don't come down too hard on people, what they actually mean is that people get away with fucking whatever if they're buddy-buddy with the admins, or if the admins just think whatever they're doing is funny. Which, well, trust me, it is funny for the clown to build a fucking giving machine in the bar. That's kind of a one-time joke, and if everyone starts doing that, which they always do, it'll end up ruining the whole goddamn server. Seriously. Proper adminning requires a perfect 50-50 split. What do I mean by that? Well, quite simply. If you are playing head of security on a server whose admins are either way too lax on the people who are being annoying shitters and spending the whole round pissing off security because, shit sack, while also playing on a server that doesn't punish your own security officers for being assholes and just breaking laws and just being dickheads with batons and guns and hiding and shit, then that's also a pain in the ass. Head of security is the hardest role because the admins will come down on you and come down on everyone else too hard or too lax half the time. The admins have to strike a perfect balance, and HOS is the absolute biggest role that suffers from this. Again, to summarize everything I'm saying here, if the admin team sucks, HOS is a miserable experience. Now, every essay writer in my university, actually, you don't need to know my details. The point is, you always need to anticipate what people are going to say to counter. So, let's talk about that. What are the theoretical other hardest roles in the game besides HOS? Well, Warden. Well, we've already mentioned that HOS is basically Warden, but with even more responsibilities. Speaking of, minor tangent that didn't feel necessary to bring up before, but I just want to mention it here because someone's gonna say, why didn't you mention this? If your Warden sucks as HOS because they're new or they just suck, yeah, you then have to play Warden. Anyway, Captain. Is Captain the hardest role in the game? No. Why? Because of every other department head. See, it's actually rather rare for department heads to directly clash. Like, okay, science blows up, CE gets the NGs to go fix it. RG is happy. Medical blows up, CE comes to fix it. Science kills themselves, medical comes to fix it. NG blows up, medical comes to fix it. Singularity irradiates the NGs, medical fixes it. Hop needs to hire new people for different jobs. Hop makes the other heads happy. Security, however, is actually rather weird in this situation. See, security never really interacts directly with the rest of the departments in any major way. The biggest interaction they have is engineering fixing stuff and trips to medical. But cargo, science, service, they don't really interact with the head of security or security at all. And as a captain, heads of staff usually don't fight. And as captain, your only concern should be your heads. Again, as any head of staff, your job is deferring. As long as someone is working on a current issue, you can do whatever the hell you want. Security, of course, doesn't have that liberty because it can take multiple officers to break down one person. But again, I digress. Captain isn't harder than HOS because HOS has to deal with the entire crew, while Captain usually only has to deal with the command staff. Simple. Okay, what about chemistry? Chemists have to look guidebook. If you're a chemist and you think your job is hard, guidebook. Your job's not hard, it's just tedious, and that's why I don't play it. I can play chem, I just don't want to. Chem is fucking easy. Salvage. Salvagers have to deal with all that. No. Dealing with NPCs that are programmed so shittily, alongside two other people who also have incredibly good weapons, alongside the fact that salves spawn with perfectly functional infinite ammo weapons that could deal with pretty much any mob in the fucking dungeons. The only real threat is maybe a Goliath and a dragon, but those are rare, and by the time you run into them, you probably already have the better equipment to deal with them. No, salvage is not that hard. I just don't play salvage because I like role-playing. It's not a difficult role, especially because salvage, your goal is always obvious. How you go about it is also obvious. Quite simple. Yep. You don't have to deal with other people, and you mine materials, you bring stuff back to the station. It's not hard. It's actually rather simple. So yeah, to summarize, salvage and chem are not that hard because your goal is always in sight and the steps to take it is obvious. Security, and especially HOS, never have a 100% guaranteed way to accomplish their goals. Now, some of you are probably screaming, the AI. And well, shit, you might have a point. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of similarities there, actually. No, you have a point. Good job, smart commenter. You get a cookie. Good job. Yeah, AI and HOS kind of have very similar stresses and difficulties. Everything that happens on the station is your problem. But AI also has one unique difficulty that HOS doesn't have. People expect your immediate attention no matter what. And that is the fact. If you want to help them out and open a door, you can. But if you don't, then you're just not playing correctly because you have to fulfill every order you do under standard laws. You also have to deal with people getting pissed off at you and declaring you mouth, and also you're also technically the commander of the Borgs, and and then there's got to interpret the fucking Ion Storm laws and Okay. Think of a reason. Okay, no. Here's one. When you're playing AI, you are not a target. HOS is directly a target. HOS is expected to be several places at once, but with the inability to get to most of them due to accesses. As the AI, you are capable of actually doing everything asked of you in most situations. If you are aware of everything that is happening on the station, and everything that requires your attention, you can actually accomplish your goals and completely succeed at all your goals and follow your laws to a T. Okay, no. You may have the same level of expectations as HOS for the amount of shit you need to get done and the amount of shit you need to deal with. However, HOS doesn't have the same ability to deal with the situations themselves. Everyone knows what the AI is capable of. Everyone knows it can open doors, bolt doors, stop crew harm, the latter. However, HOS is expected to do everything, even things outside of their power. And HOS is only one person. The AI can warp around the map, it can be anywhere, it has access to all consoles at once. No, yeah, it is 100% not the AI. I placed like third though. Yeah, I placed third. That was a good one though. That required some thought. Good job, commenter. Have another cookie. Good job. Okay, but what about engineering? Well, I'm gonna talk Atmos first because, well, they're just better engineering. Well, engineering, quite frankly, is fucking piss easy. Like, come on, let's be fucking real here. Atmos is so fucking easy if you don't give a shit about the advanced bullshit, which you shouldn't. Here's the thing: the skill ceiling for Atmos pretty high. In fact, I'd say it's higher than the HOS even. The skill floor for Atmos is well, completely ground floor. Like, okay, head of security, ground floor is like playing Among Us with really, really good Among Us players, and at the same time, you also have to play Foxhole. The skill ceiling is interrogating actual fucking super spies and playing, I don't know, Titanfall or something. Fuck it, this example makes no sense. The skill floor for Atmos is turning on 3 pumps. The skill ceiling for Atmos is Satisfactory and Factorio at the same time. Yeah, that's a comparison to make. So, is Atmos harder than HOS? No, but you do have more freedom to go for the harder stuff. HOS doesn't have the same freedom, so HOS is 100% of the time, or like 90% of the time, easier than Atmos, where Atmos is only harder if you choose to make it so. Again, skill floor versus skill ceiling. And I think a higher skill floor means that HOS is harder. If you disagree, fair enough. But still, I don't, so I'm going to say this. And with that, I don't realistically think there's any other arguments I could think of for any other job being harder than HOS. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'd like to thank my channel members: Wakefield H, User Face Test, Altar, Subkitty Cat, Northstar, 123, Weapons Order, Philbin, Timo, and Sathir Lapin. You too can support the show down below. I am working on a new project, and it is going to be pretty cool. Anyway, that's the video. Goodbye now. Bye. Have a good day.